few weeks since we've had a video out, but we're about to have a few. We're here in mid-August. There's already some people rolling here in Western Kentucky in our county, cutting the corn. We're still a couple of weeks out ourselves. Our corn is in the 30s. So we need it around, 25. I'd like to see it 22 to 25% moisture. We're 36 or so today. Corn dries about a half a point a day at this point. So in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, you'll start to see our combine get into the field. We're excited about this year's harvest. Even though the price is down, the amount of bushels we're gonna have is really good. So, there's goods and bads. I mean, you have a really good crop, you're gonna have not as good of prices, and if you have really good prices, you're not gonna have as good a crop. So this year we're gonna have a lot of bushels to sell at a lower price. Just pick your evil. So this year it's low price. So basically what I'm looking for is when I walk into a field, I'm looking for plant health first, and that's just basically the amount of green in the stalk without lesions on the leaf. And every lesion means a little something different. Like when you look at these, you see these stripes here, and this is denitrification of the plant. So basically what that is the corn plant is, its yield is determined in a large part by synthetic nitrogen. And whenever nitrogen gets low in a plant, or in the soil, it starts to cause issues for the plant to manufacture what it needs to produce an ear. And so basically what these plants will do is they'll begin to cannibalize the nitrogen out of their leaf and their stalk to be able to pump into the ear. And so the very, very, very best corn you'll ever shell will be green from the very bottom leaf to the top, and it'll be brown in the shuck. And basically what that means is the plant had enough nutrition in the soil to not have to rob itself in the latter part of its life to be able to manufacture an ear. So really, really healthy plants will not have any lesions on the leaf, and that's like this is denitrification, but we can go out here and we can find things like rust or blights or gray leaf spot, and basically what those are is fungus or bacteria diseases that affect the corn plant. And the more disease pressure a plant has, the less it can concentrate on making its fruit, and the more it'll concentrate on just trying to make itself healthy, just like your body. If you're eating your correct things and your body has access to everything it needs, you'll show less signs of stress in your body, like you'll have less psoriasis, you'll have less hair loss, you'll have cleaner, healthier nails, you'll have bright eyes, versus if you're eating unhealthily and doing unhealthy things, all those things, all those bad problems, like bad nails, hair loss, psoriasis, things like that, those things will start to show up. The corn plant is no different. Some other things I'm looking for in a really good field is you want all your ears to be virtually the same level going through there, and every hybrid's a little bit different. Like you'll see some hybrids that bounce node to node, like will maybe be down here one node, like on this, and then the next plant will be up a node, the next one will be down a node. But the very best field you'll see will be uniform mostly across nodes. These brace roots that we see here, I always like to see corn planted between 1 3/4 and 2 inches. And the reason that is if the corn is not seeded deep enough, you will see these brace roots, and we might be able to find a plant, well, maybe not. But the brace roots will begin to come off the plant this high and into the ground. And the reason that can cause a problem is if we were to get a wind event in here and your brace roots aren't solidly in the ground, the corn goes over much easier. Versus if the corn's seeded at a proper depth, it'll set these brace roots right at the top of the ground, and it just anchors the corn into the ground much better. Also, if you've got 4 inches of root above the plant, then that's 4 inches less it can be down into the soil, getting those nutrients that are maybe down there deeper than the corn could reach if it's not seeded at a proper depth. Also, you don't want to get the corn too deep, because whenever it's trying to come up, it could make that first part of the plant very weak, and when it's doing that, it prolongs emergence, and with that prolonged emergence, you can get things like fusarium or all kinds of different blights. So it's important to check your planter whenever you're going to the field. Make sure that seed is seeded at a proper depth. Take the time, even if you feel like, hey, I don't have time, I just need to get it planted. No, you're better off to slow down and really make sure you're seeding at the proper depth. And if your soil conditions are too wet or too dry, just wait. I know nobody ever likes to hear wait, but I think sometimes that waiting will make you money in the end. So everybody markets a crop a little bit differently. The way I look at it is, I usually begin a year ahead of time sailing the crop out, and I try to set months in when we can successfully deliver the grain without burdening our labor force too hard. So we're definitely limited in the amount of labor we can use to still be profitable. So we try to manage harvest and throughout the course of the year our labor force, so we're always busy, but we're never over busy. And I know that there's times during harvest when you just don't have a choice. You're going to be too covered up. You're going to be too busy. But in farming, if you've got too much labor, or if you've got enough labor at harvest, I could say you have too much labor for the rest of the year. So kind of the way I do it is I know about how many full-time men I can employ efficiently, and then anything else I have to fill in with part-time labor. And the way I do that is I look for guys that can get off early in the afternoon because they get off work at 3 o'clock. Or I look for guys that are retired that aren't looking for a full-time job, and they just want some a few hours a week or maybe a month to fill in the gaps in their income, and that's what we do. We have our core group of full-time labor, and then we just try to fill in the gaps with the part-time help during harvest and times of need. That's kind of how I do it. The way I market a crop is we start a year out. I start looking at, get basically figured out, hey, what's it gonna cost me? What is a break-even point at this crop? And you never wanna market a crop below break-even. There will be years like this year where you just don't have a choice. There is no marketing opportunities above a break-even or at a profitable level. And so you just gotta be like, hey, I got to do risk management. Like today, I started selling 2025 new crop. So this is 2024 new crop that we're in right here. But I started selling 2025 new crop for next year. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just managing my risk and making sure that that we insure an income stream around here, because at the end of the day, money still has to be flowing so we can operate the business, regardless if you feel great about the price you're pricing it at. Most of the time, whatever, especially in a down market, the sale that you did 3 to 6 months prior will beat the sale that you make the day that you need to sell it. And so, we always want to market above break even, but if we feel like there's no opportunity for that, you just make the sale. Try to make it 3 or 4 or 5 months out, and that way, in a down market, the market's probably going to continue to trend down, and in 3 or 4 months, that sale might look really good to you.